All right, everybody, welcome to Around the Felt. We're going to be doing the NFL Week 10 recap. Dave's joining me again tonight as my partner in crime. We're going to recap this action-packed Week 14. What's
Yeah,
up, Dave?
what's up? Is it a full moon tonight, or is that just Drock's big ass forehead on the screen?
Damn, bro. Doing yourself dirty.
Sorry,
Come
our
on now.
female audience doesn't exist. So, but
Yeah.
actually, that is such a lie. What I've recently discovered this past weekend, my mother listens to the podcast. I got in trouble for talking about a couple of things that I shouldn't have been saying on the podcast, and we
Like
cannot
what?
say them.
What'd you
Number
say?
no, Dana, if you're listening, I love you. It was talking about when we were saying that I would have a better time with going into the city with Austie than I would with Bates off. And,
Oh.
and then also what I would get Austie as well. So we're gonna keep it PG for drop from now on because we do have a
Oh,
female
that's
female
awesome.
listener. So
That's awesome. Shout out Mama DROCK. Thanks for listening. I wish my mom listened, but she doesn't. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
come on now.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. So
All right, dude. Well, we might as well get into the news first before we get to the questions. Wasn't a whole lot of news yet. I mean, obviously we are recording this on a Monday night, so a lot more will come out. But Nico Collins, while he didn't play this week, since the last time we potted, they did activate him off the IR, so he wasn't able to go last night in Detroit. But it seems like he will be back next week, so that's huge news. Then we got some news late Saturday, early Sunday that Trevor Lawrence has an AC sprain or in his shoulder. But not only that, or I'm sorry, not an AC sprain, but a shoulder injury. And not only that, but he may miss the rest of the year. So that Mac Jones led Jaguars offense we watched this past week might be something we have to watch for the last 7 games. So not thrilled about that, but a lost season for them anyway.
he's a bum anyways.
Yeah. And then Chris Olave, a guy who had a ton of concussions already, kind of similar to Tua. They just haven't been as graphic during prime time, so people kind of don't realize. But he was put on the 4-game IR from his concussion, so that really tells you how bad it's been for him with these concussions. So he's set to miss a lot of time, and some of that may be the fact that the Saints, 3-7, not really contending this year. Obviously, they got the win with the Rizzy as their new head coach. They got that intern head coach bump, but not looking ideal. And then also Dak Prescott, there's a chance he gets put on season-ending IR, or with his hamstring injury. They said it was torn off the bone, so just not ideal. We got to see Cooper Rush this week. He got benched for Trey Lance. If I'm Dallas, I'm playing Trey Lance the rest of the year. I mean, the season's a wash, but at least you can play him. Let him showcase it. Then you can at least say, hey, do we have something in him for us to keep? Or, is this a trade chip where you can get some value off of what you traded for to get him? So I'd let him play. You know what Cooper Rush is, at least Trey Lance, let him prove why he was, or try to showcase himself.
Yeah, also Hill tonight he's playing with a torn ligament in his hand. I just saw that as well.
Tyreek will play.
What are your thoughts on that? I mean, what's with these?
Yeah.
I guess they don't care about their injuries. They're just going to let them rock.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's because Miami's they're 2-6. I mean, right now the Broncos have that last spot at 5-5. So they're definitely not out. You win tonight, you're 3-6, only a game and a half out. So I think you got to play him. He wants to play. So and it's one of those things where it's I wouldn't, I'd probably stay away from any props or, but for fantasy you have to play him. And it could be one of those things where he goes for 200 yards and you're like, if I didn't see that injury news, I was going to take him. So I would play him with full confidence. I mean, it's Tyreek Hill at the end of the day, and we see what he can do with Tua normally. So I wouldn't be too worried about that.
Yeah, tonight's the night he goes for 200. He's got a Jamar Chase type night and bangs out 240 for 3 touchdowns.
And that would be what would happen. To be honest, that's exactly what would happen.
Yeah,
but all right, well, that's all I got. So if you want to get into the questions, we'll get into those.
I'm very excited to say his name tonight when he's hopefully listening. Let's go with our main man, Austie first, baby. Let's go.
The return Aussie's of the back. Austie.
I guess he accepted my apologies. So first question tonight for Aussie. Which team performed the best in week 10?
Yeah, for me, I would honestly go with the Cardinals. I mean, they fucking dominated the Jets, and the Jets were coming off of a huge win in Houston against the Texans, where they looked like, all right, they're starting to piece things together. And I mean, the Cardinals, they just destroyed him. 31-6. Kyler Murray, I mean, had an insane game. He just set the record for most completions in a row for the Cardinals. He was 22 for 24 with 266 and added 2 on the ground. I mean, Kyler looks legit. He looks back to that MVP form. I mean, he's a name that we really haven't talked about, but like he's an MVP candidate right now. I mean, he's getting a lot of touchdowns, taking care of the ball, and he's got the Cardinals at first place in the NFC West was at 6-4. So for them, that would be my choice. I mean, the Cardinals by far. I mean, they looked the most dominant out of any of the teams. I mean, you could say the Eagles, but at the end of the day, Dallas had their injuries.
Nah, Kyler looked legit, man, and it stunk to watch that game because I had a Mega Maxwell unit play on the Jets in hopes that your Jets would pull out, but nope, disappointed once again. 2 other teams that stood out to me. I loved watching that Steelers game against the Commanders. I think the Steelers look good overall. I don't know. I think they played pretty well and against a good Commanders team. I would say that's pretty well. I'm not even going to mention this game, but just from the score of the outcome, the Patriots and what was the Bears that they played? Patriots but the Bears just look like shit, and they just made the Patriots look so good. Although the Patriots D did look great, so that's probably what I got for those 2.
Yeah, no, the Patriots. I mean, the 19-3 win going into Chicago. Chicago obviously undefeated at home at this point, and I mean the Patriots defense just swarmed all game. I mean, Drake May really didn't have to do much, but that defense, they stepped up. But yeah, that's also a good one. But honestly, to me, like all those teams really impressed me this week. So, but Pittsburgh too. I mean, we keep saying like, I don't know if they can hang with Baltimore. Well, they're certainly hanging. I mean, that division's wide open between those 2 teams. So we shall see.
We shall see. Next question for Austin. What play from week 10 stood out to you guys the most? I think it was Pickens' fucking catch in the end zone. Oh, that was so sick. That was so sick. Over the opposite side of the shoulder, just reading the ball from his right shoulder and just being able to adjust and catch the ball over his left. Insane play.
Yeah, honestly, like last night, I don't know if you watched till the end of the Lions Texans, but their kicker, Jake Bates, I mean, in that fourth quarter, he hit a 58-yarder to tie it and then a 52-yarder to win it. But both kicks like barely went in. They were like almost hitting the side of the crossbar. So I mean, it's normally you're not saying kicks, but those really stood out to me. I mean, those were insane because it was like so close to missing, and you couldn't have scripted any better. That was a hell of a game last night. I mean,
the brick
interceptions too.
The brick salesman. That's what he was. What's what he thought he was actually going to be.
Yeah, bro, he was. Yeah, that's exactly right. And obviously, on Thursday night, obviously it's been a while since that game, but I mean, just Jamar Chase his whole entire game. I mean, we'll get into that in a little bit, but I mean, holy shit, he cooked.
Yeah, I forgot about that one too. All right, next question for Aussie. What was the biggest upset from week 10? Patriots upsetting, right?
Yeah,
I mean you could say, I don't know. Can't say really. What were you gonna say? They can't really.
It wasn't upset. They were underdogs.
Yeah, but it wasn't a crazy like, oh my god. I mean, I don't know. The Commanders just played they played a good game, but
I mean, I would say obviously the first one that comes to the mind is the Patriots. I mean, me and Colin both took the Bears in Survivor. We're gone.
No, oh, that's right. He told me he did take the Bears.
Yeah. Yep. So brutal. We're both out. And we didn't even talk about it either. That's a funny thing. I had no idea he took the Bears, and I don't think he knew I took him until it locked in. So we're both gone. I mean, you could say the Saints too. I mean, they beat a hot Atlanta team where the Saints obviously had lost 7 in a row. They get it done. Also, the Panthers. I mean, a team that really hasn't looked good.
Your Panthers?
Yeah, my Panthers, man. I mean, this is their first winning streak of since I think 2022. So that tells you how bad they've been. They haven't won 2 games in a row since then. So, but hey, they're 3-7, same record as my Jets. I mean, they actually, Bryce Young, while he hasn't been dominating, I mean, he's at least starting to show some flashes. And Chuba Hubbard, man, I mean, put some respect on that guy's name. That's why he got the big contract. But he's got 818 rushing yards. He's 3rd in the league right now in rushing yards.
He's got 800 right now?
Yeah, he's only behind the likes of Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley. So that tells you how good Chuba Hubbard was, and that's kind of why they gave him the contract. So
wow,
it just sucks because Jonathan Brooks is coming back, and it's like, hey, Panthers, like, well, yeah, he's going to be a stud, and you're going to use him because you spent the 2nd-round pick on him. But it's like, hey, what if we, invested that pick somewhere else, a high 2nd rounder, Chuba. But hey, look at the team like the Lions. They got a nice 1-2 punch with Montgomery and Gibbs. So I'm not saying that's what it'll be, but I mean, it's never the worst thing to have 2 running backs that are good, especially in this league.
Right. All right, last question for Aussie. Which team was the biggest disappointment in week 10. If you look up disappointment right now in the dictionary, it is the New York Jets, and
Yep.
right next to it is the New York Giants. Because
No,
God,
no, no. You guys are
now
not a
the Jets are so
disappointment. It
much
doesn't
worse.
matter.
The
Yeah,
Jets are
no,
so
the
much
Giants.
worse.
No, you know what it is. Half the Giants fans
Yeah,
wanted them to lose anyway to tank.
yeah.
The Jets are the biggest disappointment. I mean, by far. You got to win, and okay, it's fine you lost, but to lose like that, 31-6, and not even look competent at all. I mean, it's by far the Jets. I mean, you can make a case for the Bears as well, um, who are kind of in a very similar spot in the sense where the team hasn't done a lot in a while, and the franchises were all excited about what the season can be, and it's falling apart really quickly. The only difference is the Bears are a young team with a young quarterback, and they're not all in this year. But I would say the Jets, and to play devil's advocate, I'd throw the Bears in there. Um, Outside of that, I mean, even though I'm not going to say the Bengals because they kind of needed to win bad too, but at the end of the day, you're on the road in Baltimore and you hung with them all game. So I think it's the Jets, and you can say the Bears as well.
Yeah, Jets are my do not bet list for the rest of the year. I think I have
Fair.
high hopes for them, being very optimistic as I am for being a Giants fan, but I just thought that they had that in the bag, and guess what? They did not. It was such a terrible game to watch as you had so
Yeah.
much money on them, but yeah.
Well, guess what? They're 3.5 point favorites this week against the Colts. Like,
Shut
I don't know
up.
why.
They're
Yep.
3.5 point
I don't know.
favorites.
Yeah, Vegas must be making a killing because everyone's probably like trying to big brain it and stuff. But if you just faded the Jets every time, like you're getting underdogs every single week. Like, I think we've been favored pretty much in every single game this year, but against the Bills and I believe against the 49ers, and we lost both those games. But I think we've been favorites in 8 of the 10 games. So and we have three. So if you faded them, you'd be 5-3 fading the Jets this year when they're with the underdogs. So you'd be up a good chunk of change.
Fade the Jets is what I'm hearing.
Apparently, you get the plus money this week, and you get plus money again after this because they're going to be favorites against Seattle. We're at home. Even if we get
Yep.
blown out again, they're still going to make us favorites against Seattle after the bye.
Yeah. And you guys got an easy road for the rest of the season. Is that right?
I don't know. It might look easy on paper, but
Could have
we'll
been
find
easy.
ways to make it look hard.
Yeah. All right, let's hop to Mr. Michael Greta.
Hey,
Why
Big Mike.
Why are teams still drafting kickers? They seem to never pan out, and the ROI is almost never there, especially if they're taken on day 2. In parentheses, Jake Moody.
Mike, that's honestly a good point. Like, most of the kickers that get drafted end up getting cut anyway and don't work out. And a lot of these guys that end up sticking around are like undrafted guys. I mean, look at even Jake Bates last night. Like, he wasn't drafted. He was playing in the USFL. Then they get him. I mean, look at Brandon Aubrey, who I'd say is the best kicker in football right now in Dallas. Like, he was a soccer player prior. So a lot of these guys are like off the streets and stuff, and they get their chance and they just run away with the opportunity. So I don't know. I would not be happy with my team drafting a kicker because I think that's a waste. I mean, at the like that, honestly, it's a waste. And a lot of these teams that do end up drafting kickers, they end up getting cut anyway because they lose the battle. Because I mean, you wouldn't be doing your due diligence if you didn't bring in competition every offseason for training camp. So I don't know. Honestly, that's a great thing. And it's also funny that a lot of people probably don't know, and I don't know if you know this, Dave, but the Raiders back in the day took a kicker in the first round in Sebastian Janikowski. So
No
yeah,
shit. I did not know
yeah.
that.
So I would
I was just about to
imagine
ask you what average pick in the draft is a kicker usually drafted.
I mean, it's gone down every year, obviously, because that was a pretty rarity back then. Let me see. I think Janikowski was probably the highest. Yeah, who's taken 17th overall. Like, imagine your team getting ranked up.
Wow.
Like, he was a beast. Don't get me wrong. Like, he was at Florida State, and I mean, the guy obviously had quite the leg, but still, I mean, he was still only 80% in his career. So if you're going to be an 80% kicker, I think you probably don't want to spend a first round pick on him. But yeah, I would say now,
point.
I mean, you probably don't see anyone until day 3 at the early. I don't think I'm trying to think. I think the last one was Roberto Aguirre. I believe he went in the day 2, 3rd round, and he was cut by the end of the year. So I think that was probably the last team to be like, all right, yeah, this is not worth it.
Yeah, wow. That's a great point, though, Greta. Jesus Christ. Would never even think of that.
Yeah, Roberto Aguirre was actually a 2nd round pick, and he didn't even make it out the season. He's not even in the league anymore. So,
he's not in the league anymore. That's crazy.
Not in the league anymore. Hasn't been in the league since 2016. He was on a bunch of practice squads, but the Bucs drafted him, and then he was just on practice squads every year after that. So, and that's a 2nd round pick.
It's an interesting point. Well, thanks, Greta. Let's hop to your brother, Garrett Loescher, aka Mr. Graphic Design King. First question he's got: who should the Jets hire to be their next head coach or their next coach?
Yeah, so I've
He
been giving
goes.
this a lot of thought. Oh
He's
wait,
got his top. No, he's got his top choices listed. He's got Vrabel, Ben Johnson, Monken, and Gruden.
yeah, I mean, I would say probably I would want a proven thing because I think if we got Ben Johnson, like we would just find a way to fuck him up. Like, I'm sorry, but like I already know, like as good as Ben Johnson's offense is in Detroit, like I don't think it would work out. I just think we would find a way to ruin it. I would probably say I would want Vrabel, just because he's a hard out, but not only that, but like we've seen him do it as a coach before and like have the Titans in the playoffs year in and year out when he was their head coach. I'd be fine with Gruden too. I just think we need an older veteran coach who's, you know, proven it. Like Gruden, I'd love too. Although I think he's probably blackballed out of the league at this point. So I don't even know if we'll get an interview. I mean, I've seen people throw the name Rex back around. I wouldn't hate that if we brought Rex Ryan back, but I don't know. I'd say Vrabel's my top choice right now, just because I think guys like Ben Johnson would be ruined. But I would be okay with it at the end of the day. But we'd fuck it up. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with everything.
Yeah, you seem pretty like done with the season. Is what I'm hearing and seeing from you. I think you're just checked
Yeah.
out. That's
Yeah. Well,
pretty unfortunate because I
it's
think
fun being
you're
a sports fan.
180 differently. This was completely different from the beginning of the season for all you Jets fans out there. Rodgers
Yeah.
coming in, we're winning the Super Bowl. Now
Mhm.
you're like, holy shit, you may not even make you probably won't even make the playoffs.
Yeah, well, the nice thing about it too is we got the waste last year and have confidence into this year, and then next year, guess what? He's still under contract. We're not going to be able to cut him, so I don't know what the fuck's going to happen next year.
Oh
And
no,
then they'll probably try.
it's our wide receiver core. Oh my god, let's get Devontae Adams. Not your solution.
Yeah, and then they're going to try to sell us in the offseason on, let's run it back one more time and give him Aaron. Oh, no, that's what's going to happen. We're going to hire whoever Aaron wants as the head coach for one final hurrah. Then it's not going to work out. Then that head coach, you're going to be like, all right, we'll give him another year. We're going to draft a rookie, have a terrible year. So this is going in 2 years from now. Then fire that guy, setting up that rookie going into year 2 who showed a little bit of flashes with a brand new coach. And then it's gonna be like, well, this isn't this coach's guy, and we're just gonna continue the cycle on and on again, like we've seen. So that's probably what'll happen. We'll get Rodgers as coach, have him for 2 years after Aaron's gone, and we'll draft some quarterback, some random quarterback who showed some flashes in his last year. Probably shouldn't have taken him there. Didn't have a lot of tape, and he won't pan out. And we'll just be back where we're at, and then eventually be like, at that point, maybe maybe Kirk Cousins will be like in the Aaron Rodgers situation. We're like, let's get Kirk Cousins in here or something like that. So yeah, or maybe at that point it'll probably be Jared Goff, and we'll be like, you know what, let's get Jared Goff in here, like a 35-year-old immobile quarterback.
I can't wait to clip that in like 2 seasons, three seasons. So we'll see if that happens. And he's also got a punishment idea for us. I kind of like this one. Loser has to eat one of everything on a fast food restaurant menu. I think that could easily be done at Taco Bell and McDonald's. I've almost attempted that. So let's put that on our list.
Yeah, we could.
I was going to say I would like to do it with you this week, but
yeah, are you going to be around or no?
For the pod, or are you talking about for just
Saturday?
I mean, yeah, we need to do our punishment, or your punishment and my just regular meal.
Oh yeah, yeah, we'll figure that out.
Oh, look who's got we got a last set of questions tonight from Big Dog. Big Dog submitted questions.
Wow,
look at that. First question he's got for us: which franchise is in a worse spot, Giants or Jets? Probably Jets. And I'm only saying that because we have at least one thing going for us, and that's our defense.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Malik Neighbors, and I was going to be like, well, we have
and Malik too, but
I know we have Garrett Wilson to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. I would probably say I would lean the Giants just because, you're probably going to I would fire Dable. I think it would be foolish to keep him because I think if you draft a rookie quarterback and it doesn't work out and the team struggles, they're going to fire Dable. And then you're just going to be the thing I was talking about earlier, where you're going to be spiraling down, bringing a year 2 quarterback in with a brand new coach, new system. And it always seems when that happens, it doesn't work out. And the hit rate on that is very minimal. So I would say fire Dable, draft a quarterback, cut Jones, which they will cut Jones. I don't even know if we'll play another snap this year. I've been seeing the whole injury guaranteed thing coming around, so I think we might be seeing the Drew Lock experience for a little bit, maybe some cutlets. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I lean the Giants just because of the fact that they're at least rebuilding and we'll be
You think
having
the
a new
Giants are
quarterback
in a?
next year.
You think the Jets are in the worst spot?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we're all in and we're 3-7. We have one more win than the Giants, and maybe next year we could turn it around. Because that's another thing too. Like we are going to go all in again next year. Like we can't get out from Rodgers, so we're still and then probably going to have to rebuild. So we're behind the Giants by like 2 years of the rebuild. So yeah, I would say the Jets are in a worse spot. They might be in the worst
Yeah.
spot in the league, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you there on that one. I just think that you got a lot of at least older players, and at least what the Giants do currently right now. And I would say that 2 year, 3 year behind the Giants at least is probably pretty accurate. So,
Yeah.
although I've only been a fan of the Giants for 3 years now, so I've been able to see so
Well,
far. So, second question: will this be Rodgers' last season as a Jet?
no,
No,
unless he
no,
retires, which he won't, and we're not going to
no.
cut
I don't
him,
think
and
so
we're
either.
giving him too much money to not play him. So he will be our starting quarterback next year, um, unless he retires, which I doubt he will. Knowing Aaron Rodgers, he's not going to go out like this. So, um, and then if it goes bad next year, okay, well he's going out, but not on his choice, by the league's choice. So, but I would be shocked because nobody's trading for him. You're not cutting him. You're not benching him. So at the end of the day, it comes down to does he want to retire or not? And I'm going to lean on the side of no, he does not.
Yeah,
So no,
yeah.
it won't be.
And last question tonight, redraft or last comment of the night, redraft the 5 QBs taken in this past draft.
It's been so early. I still,
Caleb, I know you're going Caleb.
yeah, I still want to go Caleb because I don't want to just fully give up on it. It's hard though because the way Jaden's elevated the offense, I mean, maybe you know what? I'm gonna go with Jaden. I'm not gonna be a hater. I'm going Jaden 1. I'm going Caleb 2. I don't know though. You know what? No, I'm still going Caleb 2, even though he hasn't looked better. I'll go Drake May 3, even though Bo Nix is better than both Caleb and Drake May at the moment. I'm still like put a lot in the potential and stuff, and like I don't know like what Bo Nix ceiling is versus like I feel like May and Williams have that like elite ceiling where Nix will be like a good player, but I don't think he'll ever touch the ceiling of what those guys will. So yeah, I put Nix at 4 and Penix at 5 just because of the age, the fact that we don't know what he is, so you can't really say anything about him right now, and there's no reason to put him prior. And then I would say McCarthy too. I would probably lean McCarthy over Penix just because of the age and the athletic traits. Um, and I guess Rattler's 7. Jordan Travis,
Yeah,
maybe we'll see him this year. Huh? That's someone
maybe.
who, speaking of the Jets too, like, and it honestly makes him look a lot better. And I've been seeing a lot of people say it, but with Florida State being this bad this year, and it kind of helps him out a lot because it shows how good he was and how impactful he was, and the difference between not having him at the end of last season and then going into this year, like how bad the team is. That okay, maybe Jordan Travis like was that good. So I really do hope he gets an opportunity at least because that was a guy on like before getting injured was like a first round going in the first round on a lot of mock drafts. So I'd be curious to see what he can do if he ever gets a chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one. Obviously, Jaden first. I don't know, Williams second. I mean, who'd you throw in that 5? You throw McCarthy in there?
Yeah, well, that was the thing because did he not say the first 5, but there were 6 taken in the first round, so that kind of threw me off because I don't know if he was talking about McCarthy. I would just do 6. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter because I would just do your top 4 because really
And
it's
have
like
we haven't seen Penix this year, right? Am I wrong for saying that?
very little. He played a little bit garbage time, but not enough to really make a full.
Yeah.
Unless you're talking about Rattler, because Rattler at least has played enough to show you. But I would just do your top 4, and if you like one or the other, you could say at 5. But
Yeah, dude.
do you like May or Knicks more?
Yeah, I would go May just because I've. No, let's go Knicks and then May. That's what would be my top 4.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay. Well, that's all the questions we got. Let's dive into these games.
Yeah, let's dive right in, Dave. Let's do
Starting
it.
off with our punishment game of the week.
Yeah, yep. So obviously, I'll do the records first before we get fully into it. So at the time of this recording, we're 13 games in. We're doing this Monday night. We're trying to get it in before the Rams Dolphins starts. So I went 6-7 against the spread. I went 9-4 on the money line. And then Colin was 8-5 on the spread, 7-6 on the money line, and Dave tied me at 6-7 on the spread and 8-5 on the money line. So it looks like this was a week with a lot more upsets. Obviously, the Panthers, Steelers, Saints getting some big upsets, and that kind of seemed to be the key factor into with the money line and stuff too, and having some better records. Because I know, like me and you both took the shot on the Saints and the Steelers. Or I'm sorry, you didn't take the Steelers, but we both took the shot on the Saints, and that definitely paid off. But obviously, let's get into it. The Ravens winning 35-34. Really, a huge win for them because, obviously Pittsburgh won as well, which we'll get into in a little bit. But, you know, with this division, it's very tight. But they now improved to 7-3 on the year. The Bengals now dropped to 4-6, and they've lost both games to the Ravens. So I don't know. On the Ravens side, Lamar did Lamar things, 290 passing, 4 touchdowns. Henry pretty quiet in this, but the game script kind of killed him, which, that's one of the things you have to expect at this point. If the Ravens are trailing or it's a close game, it's not good for Henry. You need the team to be up and really be getting the full workload. And I mean, he still did have 17 total touches, but one of his worst game for fantasy since week 1 against the Chiefs, but still broke double digits. Tylan Wallace had a big game, 3 for 115 and 1. Zay Flowers was only 4 for 34, so you don't love that. He had been on fire, but Mark Andrews 6 for 68 and 1. That was interesting to me just because he has obviously had so many bad weeks and he does that. But let's get to the Bengals. I mean, Joe Burrow 428 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. Jamar Chase 11 for 264 and 3. So if you had that stack, you like already won your matchup on a Thursday, so that must be nice. And then Chase Brown, I mean, still has the full backfield. He had all the touches again. So if you have him, you should be happy. I mean, 9 catches as well for 52 yards. I mean, just a PPR beast this week. But Dave, what are some of your biggest takeaways from this game?
Yeah, man, I thought the Bengals had a bag. Jesus Christ. They looked really good in the first. I was hoping that were going to lose, but they ended up actually losing. I was like, oh my gosh. Thank God it was a good game for a Thursday night because I'm so sick of just sitting on my couch on Thursday nights, like watching a shitty game. So I'm very thankful that it was actually some good football to watch on TV. I also, if we listened to DROCK last week, I did say to tease this game, and it's smacked with flying colors. So you're welcome to everybody who tailed me. Probably nobody besides my roommate. And then, yeah, man, I can't wait to eat that pizza. So I look forward to that, taking the punishment with you. So
yeah. Obviously, I already had to do one, so I said, you know what, Drock, you could pick the topping. If I lose, you can make it as disgusting as you want. And Dave was like, you know what? So I guess we'll both be doing plain, racing each other, both having to get it under 5 minutes. So
I'll
maybe
easily get it. I'll get under 2 minutes. If I don't, then I'll do it again. Ooh.
Maybe we'll have to make a punishment for the race too, like a little add-on or something right after you have to do something.
Yeah, I was practicing yesterday, so I'm already one step ahead of you.
All right. We'll have to see on that one. I think that'll be a good video, so we'll have to figure out when we're going to do that because we've been.
I was thinking about just live streaming it on Instagram because it's only 5 minutes.
We could. That would actually be funny as shit. Set it up.
There's nothing wrong with live streaming, just us eating pizza. I think that would be fun. People would tune into that.
Yeah, no, we could live stream it. Maybe figure out a night to do it or a time to do it, and then have Garrett make a little graphic to promote it, and then we could post. Probably save the video after to post it, or we could do it on stream. I don't know. We'll have to figure out the details, but yeah, I definitely think that's a good idea and something different.
Yeah.
But let's move on. Let's get to the Germany game. I know you probably don't want to spend too much time on it, but we got to talk about it. The Panthers beat the Giants 20-17. Game went to overtime. Tyrone Tracy fumbles it. Panthers hop on it, and they kick the field goal to win. Bryce Young, no turnovers here, had a touchdown. Did most of his work early on, and then kind of not much from them. But Chuba Hubbard, he gashed that Giants defense. 153 on the ground and a touchdown. On the Giants side of things, Daniel Jones struggled. Again, what else is new? 2 interceptions in this game. I mean, he did add one on the ground, but it didn't matter. Malik Neighbors really nowhere to be found again. Took till the second half. Honestly, mainly just the fourth quarter for that production to come again. So kind of the same issue we saw last week where it was like, what, like you got to find ways to get this guy the ball. So I think they'll make a bigger effort in the offseason when they get a new quarterback in there. But clearly he hasn't been what he was. But Tyron Tracy outside of the fumble, another big game, over 100 rushing yards and a touchdown here. And I know I had the hot take coming into the year of, he would have a bigger impact for this team than Neighbors. And right now it's pretty neck and neck. I mean, Tracy's up to 545 rushing yards with 3 touchdowns. I mean, the dude's averaging 5.1 a carry, but just over the last 3 games, I mean,
That's such it is a valid argument, but at the same time, like it's such Jones's fault for Neighbors not being able to like reach his full potential this year, just because like Jones sucks and he's not getting him the ball as much, and they are working that ground game more specifically, I guess, the past 2 weeks really, and haven't been like really throwing it out there. Yet Jones can't make a goddamn accurate pass to save his life, but yeah,
and obviously Neighbors is still. I mean, he's almost top 10 in yards. He's top 3 in catches. He's third right now. So he's still having a great year. So I'm not trying to downplay him. I'm just trying to more so upplay how good Tracy's been so far. But I mean, you're the Giants fan. What is your biggest takeaways? Are you full tank mode now?
Yeah, I would say so. I probably halfway through that game, I was going to say full tank mode. Other than having the Giants plus 3.5, I wasn't as sad of a loss as it was, just because I said that I wanted to tank. But hey, listen, on the pod last week, I apologize to you fans that were in Germany watching the game, and I'm going to apologize to you again for watching, which is a terrible performance by the Giants. Jones sucks. Is probably his last start for this year. And probably ever, maybe even for the Giants. And I'm now on that bandwagon with the Jones haters fans because I just, ever since that Vikings game in 2022, boy, do I miss that game. And then after that, I just sailing down deep. But yeah, I mean, other than that fumble too at the end of the game, Tracy's a dog. So I like your argument there with Tracy, especially just being like having a better performance this year than Malik Neighbors. But again, too, he's just not throwing it. Yeah, I mean, other than the Panthers winning, Bryce Young still not great. I'm not going to give him high hopes here. I think Hubbard basically carried that game on the ground against the Giants. So
it was
congratulations. You beat a shitty Giants team. So there's nothing great to talk about beating the Giants. So
well, and the funny thing is, I was joking with my Giants friends. I'm like, if Germany's gonna think Bryce Young's after the first quarter, Germany probably thought Bryce Young was like the best quarterback in the league with how good he looked, and then he didn't do anything the rest of the game. But I was like, he's really tricking the Germans out there because he's obviously been so bad so far this year. But I mean, hey, the past 2 weeks, like he isn't putting up crazy numbers, but he's definitely improved from what he was. So hopefully he can continue to build off of it the rest of the season in what it seems to be a lost season for both teams. But let's move on. The Kansas City Chiefs here. They went out. They won again. 16-14, came down to the wire. Bo Nix got the Broncos in field goal range. And of course, if any team's going to get a fluky win, crazy play at the end, it's the Chiefs. And they blocked the field goal. And it wasn't a deep field goal. I believe it was, let's see
30,
here.
like 31? Am I right?
Yeah, it was 35 yards. 35. So, if any team out there, if I had to put money on it, what team would be able to block a field goal to win the game? It would be the Chiefs because for some reason they just have this voodoo magic, and
they do.
Yeah, I don't understand. But at the end of the day, they're 9-0. It wasn't pretty. It was expected. Of course, the Broncos would cover because the Chiefs are just playing. I've never seen a 9-0 team like this where they just get it done every week, and it's never pretty, but they do it, and I can't take it away because a win's a win. So who cares how they win? They won, and they're 9-0, and they seem primed to not only be winning that division, but locking in that 1 seed in the AFC, and should have a very good chance to go back-to-back. But obviously Mahomes, he had 266 and 1 here. The ground game couldn't get much going, but Kareem Hunt still had over 100 all-purpose yards, added a lot in the receiving game. Kelsey got in again. On the Broncos side of things, Bo Nix had a good game, 215 and 2. Cortland Sutton, ever since that one game where he had 0 targets, 0 yards, has been on fire. So if, for you fantasy players out there, he's a guy to definitely look into. Over the past 3 weeks, he has 11, 10, and 9 targets, 100 yards, 122 yards, and 70 yards, and a touchdown this week. So for fantasy, he's been very viable. So he's a guy I'm trying to buy. Him and Bo Nix seem to have a real connection. And the biggest story to me from a fantasy perspective is Audric Estime. We saw the report come out saying that he is going to be getting a bigger role this week. And boy, did he have a bigger role this week. He had 14 of the 17 running back carries this week. So he's fully taken over the backfield. If you have Javonte Williams, you got to be pissed. He had 1 carry for 1 yard and added 2 for 6 through the air. So seems like Estime has taken that job over. So he's a name, now you're listening on a Monday night, that will be a top candidate to pick it up. And you might be like, well, he only had 53 yards. Starting running backs are very far and few. So if he's out there on your waivers or you have some fab left over, to me, this is a guy I would be dropping half my fab on because, playoffs are coming around the corner and, you can't sit on the fab. I mean, we're going into week 11 next week. So I would definitely make a move for him.
Drop that fab, Reagan.
Drop that fab. What do you think, though, Dave? I mean,
the only takeaways I have from this game is I just think that the Chiefs are going to pull off these, like, I don't even know what you want to call it, types of victories, but I think that they make it to the Super Bowl this year and they lose. They're going to pull off one of the Patriots' undefeated season and then lose in the Super Bowl to the Lions. That's what's going to happen. Colin's probably really happy for me to saying that right now, but I just think that they always have to pull off a win somehow or one way or another, and it's Patrick Mahomes. He's got the referees on his side, and he's got the NFL writers who writes the script for the rest of the season. So, hey, listen, he's not had a great season. No, absolutely not. But he pulls off victories, and that's what makes him, I guess, great. And then me and you are not as fans of Patrick Mahomes and just the Chiefs in general. So that's probably why we're bashing him so much right now. But hey. That was a crazy win, though. Not expecting that at all. I was kind of just seeing their first loss of the season, watching it live. But you know what? Hats off to Patrick Mahomes this season. I kind of wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on Bo Nix's performance this game?
Yeah, I was impressed, bro. I really was. I mean, obviously, he looked very competent. He's continued to get better and better. He's a viable quarterback for fantasy, but he's also a viable quarterback for the NFL. I mean, they're 5-5. They kind of control their own destiny in that wild card spot. They're up a game on the Bengals and Colts right now. So, just got to keep stacking up wins. I mean, this would have gone a long way for the Broncos and their season outlook, getting the win here, but you didn't. But hey, you're still up a game. So you just got to win a couple more, and I think they can get in. I honestly think they could even get in at 9 wins. Like, I really think if they go 4-4 down the stretch, 4-3 down the stretch, that gets you in at 9-8. So, but we'll see. And also, I'm gonna be honest, man. Fucking the fact that these Taylor Swift fans just became Chief fans last year, I'm not even trying to sound like an incel or anything like that. But it's just
where's Taylor Swift coming in from here? What are you?
I'm just saying the fact that no, I'm not trying to call us beef. I'm just saying I'm not trying to be an incel at all. Fuck women and that shit. It's such bullshit that they all became fans last year and all they've gotten to see is winning and winning. I mean, year 1 Super Bowl, this year 9-0. They're probably oh, I don't even know what losing feels like.
Are you jealous?
You know who does?
Are you jealous?
Oh yeah, I'm jealous. I'm
pretty jealous of them too. Yeah,
the Jets haven't made the playoffs in 15 years. I mean, I was 9, fucking bawling my eyes out when the Jets lost in the AFC Championship, and now I haven't even I don't even know what being happy is anymore. I just know sadness. So.
Yeah, well, I will say though, I feel like I haven't seen her in the NFL eyes or spotlight, as you would say, during the season as much as obviously is the last 2 years. So that makes me a little bit happier because I was getting sick of seeing her every single, maybe 2 or 3 times a quarter when I was watching Chief games, and they'll probably just mention her name once or twice. So
yeah, no, she's still there. Don't worry. They're getting fired up. They're getting ready for the playoffs. Don't worry.
The Swifties are getting ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, this isn't a Taylor Swift rant. I'm just saying, it's just crazy to me that these, being a Chiefs fan, what is losing? Yeah. Do they even know what losing is? I don't know. I don't know. I'm just a sad Jet fan. That's all I can say. But let's move on.
You are really sad. You are so sad tonight. I haven't seen you this upset on a podcast before. You're just done with the season. NFL's over. Just watching fantasy at this point for you, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's all about the fantasy teams. I mean, at least my baseball team's fucking good, right?
Yeah.
I'm all right. Nobody's listening to me to be a mope. I'm not trying to be an Eeyore to you guys. I'll try to get more excited. Like let's talk some fantasy. Let's win them championships, fellas. Oh fuck. Okay. All right. Sometimes I'm just losing my brain. I'm losing my marbles out here,
Yo,
and
let's roll
everyone
to a good
listening.
game. Let's roll to a good game. Let's go Steelers.
Yeah,
Man.
two franchises in a great spot. Let's talk about the Steelers. Let's talk about the Commanders. Steelers obviously get it done here on the road, 28-27. I would say probably Jaden Daniels' worst game. And you know what? At the end of the day, you lost by a point. So if that's his worst game, it is what it is. You didn't have Brian Robinson, and I do think not having him is a huge impact here. But I mean, obviously Eckler had a solid game for fantasy. I mean, NFL wise, really didn't do a ton, but the 2 touchdowns is nice. McLaurin has actually been very consistent. He's broken double digits in PPR, half point PPR scorings in every game this year. So I don't know if people realize that, but he's been one of the most consistent guys, which is very nice. And so also the Steelers side. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked there. Russell Wilson had another good game here. I mean, 195-3. Najee's 100-yard streak did end, but he got in the end zone, so that was nice. And of course, Mike Williams scores. Only 8 plays, but he gets a touchdown. He's already done more for the freaking Steelers than he did for the Jets. So you gotta love it. You gotta love it. While he had some catches for the Jets, he didn't have a big 32-yard touchdown to win us a game. That's for sure. But all it took him was 8 plays to have an impact. But this is the Steelers talk, so let's talk about them. But I will say, George Pickens with another big game. Him and Russ really have a connection. So for those of you that weren't sure what it would look like, him and Russ have been great together. So obviously, he was 91 for 1 in this game. Against the Giants, he was 4 for 74. And against the Jets, he was 5 for 111 and 1. So, and honestly, against the Giants, he had multiple chances to score. He almost seemed like he didn't want to score. So, he's really a guy that I would be trying to acquire in fantasy down the stretch because they have a really nice connection going.
Yeah. Great game to watch. Pickens 91 yards and a TD too. That's pretty awesome for Pickens. Sick catch too, by the way.
Yeah, you were talking about that earlier. Yeah.
Man, the Steelers 7-2. Such a what a team to be 7-2 right now. Not expecting that at the beginning of this year. Understanding that what was their quarterback situation with Russell Wilson, with that deal and everything else, a part of that team. I mean, my gosh, what Johnson was. Now, Deontay Johnson, he was traded this year, or was he? Was that?
Yeah, he was. No, he was traded in the offseason to the Panthers, and then
it was
the Panthers
offseason, right?
Then traded him to the Ravens before the deadline.
Yeah, so I was like, I don't know what their situation was. Not expecting this year. Now they're currently at plus 150 to win the division. Does that sound crazy?
Who is
the Steelers? And
they're plus 140 or 240.
No, plus 150 to win the division.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's that crazy. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, they've been winning games. Obviously,
it's not great value, but
it's not great value. Yeah. But the thing is, they still play Baltimore twice, so I think that's the biggest key factor here is the fact that they still have 2 more games against them, and if they're able to win this week, they'll take not only will they be up a game, but they'll also have the head-to-head, so they'll be up a game and a half with the head-to-head. So I think that a lot of that goes into it. But let's move on to the next matchup. Minnesota goes into Jacksonville, wins ugly here. This is,
ugly.
What's the recap in this game here? I mean, 12-7, Vikings get it done. Not many times where your team can win a game without scoring a touchdown, but hey, the Vikings did it. We'll start with the Jaguars first. I mean, Tank Bigsby left. That sucks, but Mac Jones looked terrible. 14 for 22, 111 passing yards, 2 interceptions in the fourth. I mean, Evan Ingram, that's nice. He had 6 for 40. So I guess if there's any takeaways from this, that he might be okay for fantasy, but outside of that, you really can't start many of the Jags pass catchers. Vikings side of things, I mean, Sam Darnold looked terrible, but hey, you won the game. Aaron Jones had a good game, 88 yards. Jefferson really didn't do much.
Hawk had a pretty good. Hawkinson had a pretty good game too. I think 70 plus yards or something like that.
Yeah, 8 for 72. So if you were one of those guys that took him late in your fantasy drafts, throw him on the IR spot, he seems primed to be one of those top tier tight ends again. So that's probably one of the biggest takeaways from this, that he's healthy, but him and Darnold already have a connection, so he may end up being that safety blanket for him down the middle. So that was awesome. But outside of that, not a lot of takeaways here. I mean, Minnesota gets a big win, one they should have won. And we took Jacksonville at +4.5. It kind of sucks because I feel like they covered the game and they covered the Mac Jones spread, but we recorded on a Wednesday when we thought T Law was playing. So, we got 4.5 with Mac Jones, where I think the closing line was 7.5. So, in a sense, they did cover, but they didn't. Do you have anything else from this? I mean, otherwise we'll move on.
Despite the three, what was it? I think there were both three like red zone interceptions by Darnold, but still ugly game, but came out with a win. So that's all I got from that game.
That's the biggest thing here is obviously coming out with the win. So let's move on though. The Saints get it done at home. They end the 7-game losing streak finally. 20-17. Derek Carr had a great game, 269 and 2. Kamara, the 55 yards on the ground, 54 in the air. So he was over 100 plus scrimmage yards. MVS out of nowhere, 3 catches for 109 and 2. Who had that on their bingo card? Not me. On the Falcons side of things, Kirk Cousins, he had over 300 yards. But once again, if it ain't the Tampa Bay Bucks, it ain't a good week for Kirk Cousins. Bijan had a big game for 116. London for 97. But at the end of the day, hey, the Falcons are still very much controlling this division here. They have the head-to-head against the Bucks. The Saints and Panthers are not catching you, so it really comes down to, just win a couple more games and you lock up this division. You're really playing for seeding at this point because, still 2 up, basically 3 up with the head-to-head. So, Atlanta's primed to be in the playoffs, but it's really looking like their man to be in the 4 seed, maybe the 3 at best. But I'm assuming the Lions and one of the Eagles or Commanders are going to run away with those top 2 seeds.
Mm-hmm.
What were your kind of takeaways from this? It was nice we were both on the Saints in this one. We backed the new coach bump.
Yeah, that was 7 losses in a row for the Saints, and finally get a win.
Correct.
Right? I think it was 7
in a row.
That's crazy. Bijan 2 touchdowns, 116 on the ground. I don't even know. He probably had 50 receiving or.
Bijan in total had 116 on the ground and added another 28 through the air. So he was just shy of 150, but still, and obviously 2 touchdowns as well. So very big performance for him. For those of you who took him in fantasy, maybe not fully thrilled with him so far this year, but this is a game where you're like, all right, this is why I drafted this guy in the first round.
Yeah, shout out CJ, aka Bagels, aka Collins' wonderful girlfriend that comes over and makes us abundance of food every single time. She slammed Bijan, so thank you, CJ, for handing out that pick to the rest of the Penthouse Warriors that were in my place yesterday. So
I don't understand why. What was the?
I don't know. CJ's been cooking up some crazy parlays, but I think her big bet, most confident play was Bijan. So and
anytime,
yeah, he scored twice. So
wow.
Hey. Yeah, good for CJ.
Well, we might have to have the CJ parlay because your fucking boyfriend sure as hell can't hit a parlay anymore. He's ice.
No, he's so bad. We were actually, both of us were extremely cold yesterday. Woke up with crippling anxiety from your text from your bookie, so it's not that fun. But yeah.
Jeez. We've all been there. But hey, it's fine. That just means next week will be a good week, right? But let's move on. The Bills get it. I'm sorry. Nope. I'm ahead of myself. The 49ers get it done ugly, but they get it done. Much needed win for them. Came down to a Jake Moody game-winning field goal. They
after missing 3. Wild.
After missing 3, but made the one that mattered. And at the end of the day, games aren't won off of one play. So, he had his opportunity to right the ship, and he did just that. And probably keeping his job. If he misses that, he's probably on the streets. But I think with him making the kick, they'll probably give him another opportunity, knowing that he's a guy that's shown some success so far. But the biggest takeaways for me, Brock Purdy, 353 and 2. McCaffrey, the return of McCaffrey looked great, 19 touches. So he stuck to that mark what they thought he would be at. And then, just getting over the 100 all-purpose yards. So I think the touchdowns will come, but obviously his first game back. So very encouraging for you fantasy owners. My biggest takeaway, though, is while Baker Mayfield, he looked great in that fourth quarter, making some big plays, only 116 and 1. So we might be seeing some of the cracks in the armor where it's like, look, no Godwin, no Evans. Like, it's going to be tough. Obviously, White gets in. So he had a good day. Irvin gets in as well. So it seems like both guys are flex plays. I don't think anything higher than flexes, but both can be played, especially with no Evans right now. And Otten's still 5 for 35. So, not what he had been doing, but still keep playing him. But I mean, 49ers, you're a half a game back on the Cardinals, although the Cardinals do have the head to head right now. So you're still in thick of the things in the division race and the Bucks. I mean, just try to win some. You got to win some games if you want to get a wild card because this season's starting to slip away very quickly. They now are losers of the past four. In fairness, they played the Ravens, Falcons, Chiefs, and 49ers. So very tough teams. But you get the Giants, Panthers, and Raiders in your next three. So I wouldn't be shocked if we're talking in 3 weeks if they're 7-6 and we're like, yeah, it was just a tough part where you had a lot of injuries. So I think the Bucks are still very much alive. And at the end of the day, they're only, they're actually 12. But Green Bay's at 6-3, so they're going to really need to start getting in the winning column. But you'll have a good chance for the next three.
Yeah, 6 stiff arm Baker Mayfield to Bosa, but man, it's not going to hold you up. Yeah, so sick, and they're boys too. Like no animosity there or anything like that. No, Baker's a dog. I think he played a decent game. Or actually,
that's what I'm saying, bro. Like
numbers
wise, no,
but he outperforms, man. He's a baller. Like he's a gamer, I should say, really, and I love watching him play. So, but yeah, I mean, listen, for Moody, you missed 3, but get the game winner. Listen, that sounds a lot better, and I would choose that option over making 5 field goals in a game. Kicking a game winner's got to be a pretty sick feeling. So,
yes,
yeah, so pretty sick game. Yeah, Bucks cover plus 5.5 cash.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, let's move on. The Bills get it done again. What else is new? The Buffalo Bills win. They win here 30-20. So, it looks closer than it was. It came down to the end where Joe Flacco and the Colts got a garbage time touchdown. But I mean, the Bills really did dominate this game. Josh Allen did have 2 interceptions. So you don't love to see that, but he's been so good with the ball that I give him a pass on this one. And, he didn't have his best stuff, but the Bills defense, they certainly did. James Cook got in on the ground. Mac Hollins was the leading receiver, 4 for 86. On the Colts side of things, I mean, Joe Flacco did have 2 touchdowns, but a lot of that was garbage time. 3 interceptions, very frightening there. Taylor obviously had a big game, 21 for 114, and then Pierce was the one that got in. I don't know. It's weird to me with the Colts. I think at this point, you're 4-6. The season's starting to slip away. Like, yeah, you're still only a game back, but I think you go back to Anthony Richardson. And I know Shane Steichen said Flacco's a starter for the rest of the year. But at the end of the day, like, yeah, maybe get into the playoffs. But really, what is your ceiling with Joe Flacco as a quarterback? His ceiling at this point is not what Anthony Richardson's can be. So I think after letting him sit for a little bit the past couple of weeks, I think, this is, if any time, the best spot to do it. You get the Jets, who are just limping right now and just do not look competent. So I think that could be a good game for Richardson, especially because the Jets can't stop the run. So I'd love to see them make the switch back, but I get it. Because then the following week you got the Lions, so that would be a tough test. But we'll see what they end up doing. But I would love for them to go back to Richardson. What do you think about that? Do you think they should stay with Flacco or make the move back?
I think they should go back to Richardson. Watching Flacco's performance, 4 turnovers? I mean,
yes, yeah, he had the fumble too.
4 or 5, 4 or 5 turnovers. Yep. I don't know, man. I think they should go back to Richardson. But like what? That's 5 straight wins for the Bills right there. They look good.
That is, that's 5. Their last, they started 3-0, then they lost the 2 to the Ravens and Texans, but since then 5-0, and now they're coming in on a nice little hot streak against the hottest team in football, and the Chiefs, who are on a 9-game winning streak. So, but the Bills do have a rough stretch coming up. They have 4 playoff teams from last year in the Chiefs, 49ers, Rams, and Lions over the next 4. So, I don't think it necessarily matters. They're going to win the division, but it really comes down to seeding and stuff, especially if you lose this week to the Chiefs. You can pretty much kiss the 1 seed goodbye. So this is a massive game for them. This is probably the biggest game on the season because,
is that a primetime game?
Yeah, that's Sunday Night Football. No, I'm sorry. No, it's not. It's the primetime game for the 4 o'clock window. It's 4:25. They actually flexed the Jets Colts out and replaced it with the Bengals Chargers. I think probably the Chiefs or Bills probably already hit their cap for primetime games, but they do play the 49ers the following week or 2 weeks from now on primetime.
On
But
prime time.
yeah, and they do have a bye after the Chiefs, so that is to be noted as well. But this game is
Yeah,
massive.
I would rather watch a good game at 4:25. I'm kind of asleep for the Sunday night games anyways, so and that's gonna
Gotta
be a good
sleep.
game. That's gonna be a good
When you
game.
party, hey, when you party like DROCK, you need some time to, charge that battery. Long Friday and
Yeah,
Saturday nights, you need some time to plug yourself back in.
yeah. Sometimes Sundays too, they get to you.
And this one
Get
too,
to
you
you.
had to wake up early for that that Germany game. You didn't get your full. Would you sleep
Yeah,
2 hours,
yeah.
knowing
Just
you were probably in bed by 6 a.m. up by 8 for the Giants game.
yeah. I had to kick the ones out of my bed, and I said, "See you later."
Oh,
Yeah.
uh,
What are you talking about? Just this is my dog. What do you mean?
your big dog crawled in there. You had to kick him out.
Yeah, big dog's always crawling in here.
All right, let's move
Yeah.
on though. We got the Bears. If it wasn't for the
Shitty
Jets, we'll
game.
get into it later.
Shitty
Probably one of the
game.
worst teams. Losing 19-3. I mean, the Bears just couldn't get anything going on offense. I mean, Caleb at 120 passing yards. And the worst part is he didn't even turn the ball over. The Bears didn't. I don't even know if they cracked 200 yards of total offense. No, they didn't.
No.
They were below
Nope.
200 yards of total offense, and they didn't turn over the ball. So that's even crazier. I mean, the Patriots really didn't do much on offense either. I mean, Drake May obviously won the battle between the two barely. He didn't look great either. I mean, obviously he had the one touchdown pass to Polk. But I think the real story is the Patriots defense, who actually sacked Caleb Williams 9 times.
Yeah,
So,
man.
while
That's
maybe you didn't get
crazy.
any takeaways, you had 9 sacks. So, and this is a Patriots defense that really doesn't have a whole lot of talent at this point. Team that's tanking, but they certainly looked good. I mean, honestly, the Bears defense looked good too. It's just hard to win when your offense is that inept. But I mean, what are some of your takeaways? I know
No.
the Bears are on that do not bet list.
Yeah, the Bear. Yeah, well, now they are. I mean, they were the last leg essentially in my Mega Max whale parlay for Sunday, but they're gonna be put. They're gonna be put on those. I'm put on that do not bet list along with the Jets. But
Yep,
yeah,
put them there.
that biggest takeaway was Patriots D. From watching the game the entire time, it looked really good, really, really good. I don't know what's gonna have to. I mean, I don't know what that defense is gonna get going for them, considering that their offense wasn't that great. But hey, good job, Patriots D, and getting a win for no goddamn reason.
Yep, knocked me and Colin out in Survivor. So thank you for that.
You're down bad
awesome.
this month. You are down bad this Monday. The playoffs probably hated you today.
Yeah, no, it's unfortunate. I mean, at least in I think every fantasy league right now, I'm in the playoff picture, so that's nice. And my 7 leagues that I'm in, should be making the playoffs in all of them. But it sucks But hey, I can control that. I can't control the NFL. I can control my roster moves. So
Coach
I'm
Reagan.
showing why I should be an NFL GM clearly, because fantasy football is a big testament to that.
I was hyping you up to Colin the other day about your fantasy skills. I will say that.
Thank you.
You're a very good fantasy owner, but yet I can't. Yet I have to watch out how and who I'm trading with you, because sometimes you're a little sneaky. Sneaky.
I mean, obviously Colin likes to blow his own meat, but I obviously won the league last year, got the belt. Dealt with a lot of injuries this year, but hey, I'm 7-3, primed to make the playoffs again and probably win the league again. And for those of you that don't know, me and Dave actually made a bet. Dave said to me,
"Oh no, that's right." How much are you?
Say to me, "Hey, yeah, we threw $100." Dave's like, "Yeah, there's no way you win a ring." And I'm like, we were going back and forth. So we ended on over under 1.5 rings in 5 years. And I won last year. So coming into this year, I have 4 years to win a ring. So if I'm able to win this year, that's pretty impressive to cash the bet in the quickest amount of time possible. So, but hey, at the end of the day, I still got 4 more years, but I'm planning on getting it done this year. Get the $100 now, maybe invest it so I can get the max out of it.
What's crazy is that the $100 is actually going to have to be given to you after 5 years.
Yeah, maybe I'll just
kidding.
Since I have my life insurance with you, maybe I'll be like, hey, just throw it in my account for me, invest it for me.
I actually was looking at your policy the other day. It's actually performing pretty well. You don't even know. You don't even know, but yeah, we'll talk about that.
No, I don't. That's good to know, though. That's good to know.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on though. Enough of the nerd shit. The Chargers beat the Titans 27-17. I got myself all tripped up can't be talking finances and stuff.
Get
Nobody's
choked
here
up.
for that. It wasn't pretty for the Chargers, but they get it done. They're the better team. Defense looked great again. Once again, holding a team below 20. Justin Herbert obviously didn't do a ton, only 18 passing attempts, which I thought was interesting considering they were really letting him air it out. Gus Edwards came back, had 10 carries. J.K. Dobbins still got 15. So, that's an interesting wrinkle, especially for fantasy if you had J.K. Dobbins. So, he might start to lose some of those touches just because, Edwards obviously was missing time. Also Chargers defense had 7 sacks here. And 7 sacks. So no takeaways, but 7 sacks, which is very nice. And then the Titans side of things.
Ridley with 2 TDs for 84. Damn.
Yes. So Calvin Ridley has been an interesting player, especially for fantasy this year. I mean, the highs have been awesome and the lows have been terrible. But you know what? Over the past 3 weeks, he's gotten 10 for 143 against the Lions, 5 for 73 against the Patriots, and now 5 for 84 and 2. So it does seem like, they're making a conscious effort to get the guy that they gave the big contract in the offseason the ball. And it looks like they're going to be in a lot of negative game scripts this year where they're trailing. So, you just keep playing him and, maybe he'll end up winning some fantasy championships. So he's definitely a guy I'd be looking to target with that kind of upside. And then obviously Spears came back. Pollard only 9 carries to Spears' 7. So if you were riding that Pollard high, temper expectations because Spears will be involved. And, even though Will Levis didn't have the best game, I mean, 18 for 23, 175 and 2, kind of showing like why he, all his obviously not an amazing quarterback. He's definitely better than Mason Rudolph. So that was encouraging, especially against a very good Chargers defense. But yeah, you got anything to say here?
No, other than really having 2 TDs with 84. That's pretty insane. Pretty insane game. I had Chargers money line, slam it. Next game.
Yeah. Your chart. Is that a flex? They were like -10.
I had them in that juicy parlay.
I was gonna say, dude. I was like, I don't know if that's exactly like a crazy take to take a team that was like -10 to win. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Well, first off, I don't think they were -10.
I don't know what the line closed at. I think because in our pool they were I believe 7, but I think the line ballooned up to almost 10 by Sunday, which is expected the way that.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's right. They blew up to 9. Wow. I think I sniped them at like 7.5. So.
Yeah. Well, regardless, 9, 7.5, they covered. But let's move on. Game that was somehow a pick'em. You wouldn't think it based off the score, but the Cardinals dominate the Jets 31-6. Kyler Murray had a crazy game. I talked about it earlier. Just set the Cardinals franchise record for most completions in a row. 22 of 24. 266 and 1, added 2 on the ground. Cardinals were just having everything they wanted. I don't think they punted till the 4th quarter. Scored a touchdown on their first 3 drives, and then on the 4th drive, a field goal. So they didn't even get stopped once in the first half. Harrison got in, so that's nice. People that were worried, I know his line was as low as 3.5 receptions, so he finally hit that with 5. Got the score. Jets side of things, not a whole lot to say here. Rodgers sacked 3 times, not finishing drives. Defense can't stop the run, can't get a stop. I mean, Sherwood, 17 tackles, so he's been the one like diamond in the rough this year, obviously getting a bigger role with Mosley being injured. So that's been very nice. So that's one of the bright spots where it's like, hey, we have a lot of these veterans, so Mosley can leave and, Sherwood will fill in nicely for the future. Garrett Wilson, 5 for 41, so kind of the hottest wide receiver over the past 3 weeks, definitely cooled off. Brees had 80 yards, but not a whole lot here. I mean, I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I mean, you're welcome to chime in, but I'm
in my notes, DROCK will never bet on the Jets again. Kyler looks fucking incredible for their 4th straight win of the season.
Yeah, I mean, Kyler did, dude. He really did.
And again, the third bullet I have in this game: Jets suck. Rodgers is washed. Fuck the Jets and their fans.
Yep. Yeah.
I will never bet on the Jets again. That was my big, very big play to get me back to even on the week, and it did not get me back to even.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry about that. But one play I will give you that maybe will get you back to even. Kyler Murray plus 1,500 to win the MVP award. I think that has some value, the way he's been playing. If they end up winning the division, I think it'll be behind him and a lot of the guys in front of him, like Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. I think there'll be some voter fatigue. So I could definitely see Kyler winning. I know Lamar's minus 110 right now to win, which I don't love, especially the fact that Derrick Henry's had such a big impact and he's won twice. So, I think if it's close, they would go with Kyler. So I think there's some value at plus 1,500. So just
Yeah.
some food for thought. But let's move on to the last 4 o'clock game. I don't know. What were you going to say?
No, that was it. Just fuck you and fuck your Jets.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's move on. The Eagles dominate Dallas in Dallas 34-6. I mean, this was kind of expected. I mean, obviously, Cowboys without Dak, played a huge factor into that. Cooper Rush looked terrible, 13 for 23 for 45. Trey Lance came in, threw a pick, so not a lot to write home there. Zeke with the red zone fumble. I would be worried. I mean, I think they should play Trey Lance, but I think regardless, you should be worried. CD Lamb now, I don't think he's even close to a top 12 wide receiver if Dak is to miss the season. So, if you were one of those teams that's been winning a lot because of CD, like this is a big blow. I would try to trade him now because I think the value is only going to go down. So I think the longer you wait, the harder it'll be to get rid of him. So I think to maximize value, trade him and just be like, hey, it's CD Lamb. Eagles side of things, Hurts obviously 202, 2 touchdowns through the air, 2 on the ground. So Jalen Hurts doing Jalen Hurts things. Saquon, kind of a quiet game for him, but
That
they
was a
really
very
didn't need
quiet
him.
game. Yeah.
But when you're putting up 34, who cares? And 5 for 109 for AJ Brown. I will say the Cowboys did have 5 sacks, so I think that kind of speaks to having Micah Parsons back, who did have 2 sacks. So that is huge for Dallas. But I think at the end of the day, they're 3-6, really slipping away. They got the next 2 games. They got the Texans and Commanders, so they got some tough games coming up. But I would love to see them give Trey Lance a chance. And if they do, I think he is a very, very viable option for fantasy football. So if you're one of those teams that's looking for a quarterback, if Trey Lance is to play with his rushing upside, I think he is very much in play for fantasy.
Yeah, that was also Hurts' first win against the Cowboys.
I did not know that. That is an interesting stat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But yeah, no, AJ Brown had over 100 too. And
that he did.
What an expected game, right? Like, I don't know, the Eagles are coming in relatively hot and the Cowboys just falling apart. That 7 was a horse cock locky.
Yeah, them and the Bills were kind of 2 teams where I was like, I feel like the line should be higher. Like, I just don't see how well this team's been playing that they just don't steamroll. So those were 2 very easy ones. But you could say the same thing with like the Falcons. Like there were a couple other teams where it was like, yeah, this should be a lock, and they did not steamroll. But yeah, those were 2 that seemed very easy. But let's move on to the final game. One of the uglier games, but it was very entertaining. The Lions won.
Yep.
What were you going to say?
No, it was very entertaining, yeah.
That it was. And the Lions win 26-23 in Houston. Jared Goff, terrible game. 240 for 2, but 5 interceptions. I mean, the fucking Lions, man, first off, to win a game when your quarterback throwing 5 picks and another game where you only have 250 yards of offense, I mean, they win in weird ways. They're 8-1. Who cares? They keep winning 5-0 on the road. Also very impressive. Gibbs, over 100 scrimmage yards in this game. Laporta, 3 for 66 and 1. St. Brown, 6 for 60 and 1. So nice there. On the Texans side of things, Stroud looked good early but struggled late. Joe Mixon really bottled up on the ground, only 25 for 46. 1 touchdown, but 1.8 a carry. Don't love to see that. First game that he was healthy, not getting over 100 rushing yards. So very interesting. I think the Lions' run defense is very underrated. John Mechie, though, was the biggest surprise for me on the Texans side of things. For fantasy, I would be putting some fab on him. I know Nicole's coming back, but he seems to be, primed to be that number 3 receiver there. So 5 for 74 and 1. Love to see it, obviously, especially not just for, fantasy, but for the player himself, a guy who obviously had cancer, missed his rookie year, but was a stud at Bama. So definitely a guy to look out for. But yeah, I mean, the Lions win. Jake Bates, 2 incredible kicks. But similar to what I was saying with the Falcons, Texans are 2 games up on the Colts. They also have the head-to-head. So, at this point, you're just playing for not the division, but seeding.
Yeah, this was an unfortunate one for our logistics manager, Zach Tong. He threw me a parlay that was looking very promising after David Montgomery scored, and we only were shy of who was it? I think it was
Gibbs?
Tank. I think it was Tank for 20 yards, and he did not get that for us. And
What was it, a red parlay?
It was a 5-leg parlay, and Tank was the only one that didn't cash us in that parlay. So it woke up very unfortunate. But I fell asleep, and Zach said that it didn't hit, so pretty upsetting. But I mean, other than that, I think the Lions are going to win it all this year, and I'm going to
Really?
place. Yes, I will place a future on that very shortly.
Yeah. What are their odds?
I
Right
don't
now?
know. I don't know. I should have looked at that before I said that
I'll pull it
statement.
up quick, but
Yeah, but
um,
no, but like I said before, or like you were saying, I mean, listen, the Lions still pull off the win. Golf had what you said 5 interceptions. That's ridiculous. And yeah, Jake Bates, aka that brick salesman, coming in clutch for the win. Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome
yeah,
stuff.
the
Man.
Lions are plus 450.
I don't like that.
I like the Eagles at plus 900 the way they've been playing, but I really like the Niners at plus 1,000 because I think they're a lock for the playoffs and their best football is ahead of them, where they're finally getting healthy. So I think you're getting a value at plus 1,000.
Okay. Yeah, no, I like the
But
Lions to win it all.
I do. I mean,
I'm
I
not
like the
going to take
Lions.
him
Don't
at
get me wrong,
450
but
though.
that
If I
value disgusts me.
yeah, if I saw 650
Oh
plus,
my
I'd
God,
take
who
it.
the hell is M. Washington? Great, that's quite the first touchdown score.
Who?
You guarantee you didn't have Malik Washington on the wheel.
Who?
Malik Washington, you have him on the wheel? Probably not. Be a crazy odds on that one. We don't even have enough wheel space to fit a guy like that. That's void it.
Oh God, there goes all my free play.
Well, why not? It just adds to the pain, just and the suffering.
And of course, it was the fucking Dolphins too.
Yep.
Oh God. Okay. Well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, that wraps up all the games. And I mean, who do you got? Who do you got tonight?
I have the Rams. We'll see. They're down 7-0 now at the time of this
Yep.
recording. So, if I'm
Chalk.
that confident, maybe it's time to splash them with a live bet. But I did say I love the over in this game. So that's obviously off to a hot start to score within the first 3 minutes. We'll see. 48.5 points. I could see getting to 60. I think the Rams are going to win 35-31. Locking it in.
Lock it in. Lock it in, Reagan.
All right, Dave. I
All right,
will talk to you later. Oh, crew necks, if you're still listening, on sale. Hit us up. Buy one, please.
Yes, please get one. We're out. And maybe have somebody approach you, male or female. Doesn't necessarily have to be a female. How about a guy coming up to you and complimenting you? That's also another big happy thing to happen, at night. So yeah. Yeah. Very cool. So all right. Let's wrap it up, Reagan.
Yeah, we're good. I'm good. I was just gonna let you keep going on. I'm good though. I like that. I'd love to be approached by different people saying nice crew neck.
Yeah.
So I don't care what gender. Just tell me I got a nice crew neck. I'd love it.
Yep. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Peace.
All right. Peace, guys.